See if this works. Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? It's working. Awesome. I haven't done this from my computer in a while and it appears to be working. Okay. Hopefully you can't hear Chad jamming to reggae music right now. He's doing dishes. It's really fun because I started creating sacred moments in my chores and dancing and listening to music and kind of going inward. And Chad's been doing it too. So I can hear him listening to reggae music in the background. But I wanted to come on here because today is my first day back from the most amazing retreat that I had in Hawaii. Lots of clarity, which I will share more about soon. So much to share, but I am on my menstrual cycle right now. And the new moon was yesterday as well. And so my cycle syncs with the new moon, which is in alignment with just a very inward time. And I came back. So yesterday I took a red eye back on Saturday night. And Chad picked me up from the airport Sunday morning. We went and had lunch, and honestly, on and off, I was asleep on the couch all day yesterday, just in and out, in and out, in and out. Went to bed early last night and didn't wake up till I think like 9:30 today. And then I took a nap. So my body was telling me, you know, I had this moment where I had a meltdown this morning a little bit and I felt behind, and my mind was trying to take over. My logical mind was trying to take over with the not enoughness. My inner critic started coming out and I went down this downward spiral of what the hell am I doing? Okay, I want to make sure you can hear me. Yes. Last time the sound wasn't working when I was on Zoom. So now that I know that it's working, I won't be distracted, but I just was like freaking out. Like I wanted to unpack. The house was a mess. I started thinking about all the things that I, put off to be in this like immersive state. And it wasn't pretty for a solid like 30 minutes. And I noticed the spiral of what was happening. And then instead, what I decided to do was I took a step back. I left my office and I went in my room and I started dancing. I'm taking this class right now called Body Alchemy. And the clarity that I received when I was in Hawaii was all around the body. It's so interesting because I've had this inner knowing for a while now. And there was a lot of affirmation when I was in Hawaii around my work with the body, and the body being like this portal to our authentic self, like to our higher self. And that's just through my own healing and my own transformation. So I'm taking this course right now and I'm almost in this moving meditation, allowing my body, which has so much wisdom, like my body is a living, breathing organism. My body talks, our bodies talk to us, especially as women. And I just started asking for support. I started asking for what I needed today. And I got my answers. And what my answers were to really just vision for the upcoming month. So it's already the 9th, right? The old story would have been like, oh my gosh, it's the 9th. You haven't done any visioning. You haven't really done any planning. You were away. And I stopped all that nonsense. And I just really tuned into what is the vision that I want to create from now through the end of the month. And I went and reflected on July. And that is what we get to do during our menstrual cycles and during the new moon. If they're not linked up, that's okay. So I kind of wanted to go into this a little bit because I've been practicing this for several years now, and it's a huge part of my day-to-day. And I don't share it as often as I would like until now. And so what I started doing when I was struggling with hormone issues is I started to heal my body and heal my hormones and be in relationship with how the natural ebbs and flows of our hormones are generated in our bodies as women. And so this is if you identify as a woman If you're currently not getting a menstrual cycle, you can follow the lunar cycle. You can reach out to me if you have questions, like if you've had a hysterectomy or things like that. Our body still knows, like our bodies are still cyclical, no matter if we're having a menstrual cycle or not, no matter if we have all of those organs or not in our bodies. So we menstruate, right? We have a 28-day cycle, typically as women, which is in alignment with the lunar cycle, the 28-day lunar cycle. So the way that I look at this is it's just a very beautiful thing, because our bodies mimic what's happening with the moon. Like it's this very cyclical, there's phases, the 4 phases of the moon: waxing, waning, full, and new. And then for us, we have our menstrual cycle into follicular, into ovulation, and then we go into, why can't I think of the name? Luteal. There we go. So menstrual, we go into follicular, ovulation, and then luteal. And why I also love to explain this is because not only is our cycle so representative of what's happening in the lunar cycle, but it also is very representative of what happens with the seasons on Earth. So, right, we have the menstrual cycle is equivalent to the winter phase, right? It's just like a very inward phase, a time where we're hibernating, right? And then we go into spring, which is the follicular phase. And that's like these new beginnings. That's when you start to see new projects starting, new things that are starting in our life. It's just this very like childlike, floaty, new beginning type of vibe. And then we get into our ovulation phase, which is summer. So this is like where we want to be at. We're going to be traveling, doing fun things. And this is generally where we're like in front of more people, where we have our energy is at its peak. And so our hormones are at their peak. And so we just have the availability to be able to show up and serve and be out there and be in front of people and travel and do all the things. And then we go back into our fall luteal phase, which is more of like a nesting time, a tidying up time. And this is where you're kind of like tying up loose ends. And so this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm going to see if I have any comments or anything, but this is the tip of the iceberg because there's a lot of wisdom that our body has. And once we start to understand what's happening on our body and our hormones, like for example, during our luteal phase, all of our hormones drop just before menstruation. And so that's why we have potentially PMS, or we're starting to feel like anxiousness. So once you start to like really understand what's happening in our body with our hormones, there's a lot of magic that opens up, because we can start work with our body's wisdom and sense it instead of against it. And so the moment that I stopped thinking that I had to do the same tasks every single day was the moment that a lot opened up for me in terms of productivity. So instead of trying to like strong arm my way through my day and do all of these tasks where the intentionality wasn't there, where it was feeling overwhelming, where I wasn't feeling in alignment with the tasks that my mind was telling me that I should be doing, because my mind was telling me that I was behind, I took a step back. And what I did was a lot of introspection, a lot of integration from when I was in Hawaii. I did a lot of big picture type thinking. I looked at what was going on in my business, for example, what was going on in my personal life. I looked at my calendar from now through the end of the month. Where was I overdoing it, like during my more inward phases? So the more inward phases are our menstruation and luteal phase, and the more outward phases are our follicular and our ovulation phase. So I was just doing this like, okay, I just got back from this week. I'm really starting to tune in more to my body. This is a perfect time for integration, because I could feel the polarity of my mind trying to tell me that in order to keep me safe, I needed to work. I needed to push through. And that I know now is not true. And so I'm learning how my mind can serve my body, how my mind is a partner, is an ally. And I've done so much work and so much training, and I read so much, and I have so many mentors, and I'm learning how to leverage my mind based on my body's wisdom. So I just wanted to share that. I'm coming out of my menstrual phase. in the next couple of days, and I'll be getting into this like new spring like energy. And that's where new projects get to start. And that's where I get to start being more outward within my relationships. And, you know, a great example is Chad's doing the dishes right now because he knows I'm just getting back from a trip. I'm on my menstrual cycle and I just don't have the energy that I normally have. And the amazing thing is when I do have the energy and when my hormones are peaking, that's when I can do like double time and he can take a break. So he's starting to work more with me in terms of how my natural ebbs and flows are as a woman. So we can be in relationship with each other and the communication is there. He understands it. And, you know, that has been invaluable to our relationship. And it's just been really fun to see him like start to integrate just I did want to share this too, that men's hormone cycle every 24 hours. And so it's easy for them. Like it's easy for them to be more like, okay, like, you know, Lindsay's going through this today. It doesn't matter to him. Like every day is essentially the same because men are just much more linear in how their bodies function and that's how their hormones operate. So I used to make myself wrong for it. And I used to feel like something was wrong with me. Like, why am I emotional this day? Why did I have so much energy yesterday and not today? And instead of being victim to it, I started to tune in to why this was happening and start to research and learn what was really happening in my body. And, you know, I started to learn what foods would help propel me and just help support me during these different phases, when I should be with people, when I should be alone, what type of work I should be doing, even down to the workout. So during my menstruation and luteal phases, my workouts are very different than during my follicular and ovulation phase. So right now I'm doing a live video. I want to give an example too. This is so fun. So there's two things that I wanted to share that just I got to download on. The first one is that like I committed to 21 days of live videos to just come in and share more about what I do. And I'm on my menstrual phase right now, right? So I'm not going to go and talk myself out of it and say, oh, I'm on my menstrual phase now, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm just going to come in as my authentic self. It's probably not the cleanest video. I'm still a little bit like jet lagged, but this work is important that I want to share and I committed to it. And so I'm showing up, right? So it's like, how can I support myself prior to this and after this and other ways so that I can show up for the commitments that I have? Because of course we have commitments. That was what I wanted to share. You know, we have things in our life that are going to happen during these phases when we technically don't have the availability for them. Oh, did it cut me off? I think it cut off my internet. Maybe not. It's showing it here, so we'll see. Maybe I'm not going to do this from my computer again. It might have cut me off, but what I wanted to say was around commitments and things, right? Like picking kids to and from school, work meetings, work presentations, events, travel, things that are outside of our control where we have celebrations and birthdays and things with family. So what I wanted to share was, this is not saying that, you know, you're not forcing yourself inside of this like bubble around what's happening with your hormones, but the first piece is the awareness piece, right? Where at least, you know, right? Not making yourself wrong for it, where you start to recognize, okay, this is actually happening in my body and this is why I'm feeling this way. And here's what I can do to support it. And then second, there's no way that you can operate from this way 100% of the time in this modern world, but it's just starting to notice and it's starting to create these minor shifts of course correction so that you can just be more supportive during the times where maybe, like, let's say I had a birthday party to go to the first day that I got my menstrual cycle, right? So what am I doing the days leading up to that and the days leading after that, or hours leading up to that, or hours following that, so that I can show up, so that I can, you know, be in relationship with other people and celebrate and things. So I really just wanted to touch on the importance of our body's wisdom. That is why I'm here. I'm here to help others heal their relationship with themselves and to like just become alive in their bodies and to fully trust and understand that our body has so much wisdom and has so much to share and makes it so easy to live, so easy to feel, so easy to make decisions when we start to tune in. And the cycle syncing around my 28-day cycle is just one of the tools that I've been implementing over the past few years in order to operate from this place of power and not victimhood. And I wanted to share. So tomorrow I'm hoping to feel a little bit less jet lagged and I'm starting my follicular phase on Wednesday and just kind of starting to like nest a little bit more, keep doing a little bit more introspection and visioning. And then I get to create some new projects that I want to create for the month. And that's what I'm going to be starting later in the week. If you have any questions, let me know. I do have a free guide. I'm currently updating my website. I'm actually completely changing everything, creating a new website. It's just going to be my name. And I'll have a free guide on there with a lot more information around what cycle syncing is and how to integrate it into your life. So I will let you know when that drops. But if you have questions, let me know. And just remember, the moment that you start to work with your body instead of against it is the moment where everything will open up for you. Okay, let me know what you think. Love you.